Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back to your age mates. It's your girl Jewel,
And it's your girl Mariama.
Period. Cool. Okay, let's see. How are you feeling today, friend? While I look at our questions, like we don't talk about the same thing every time.
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling blessed and highly favored. Yeah, life is good right now.
Life is good.
Life
On
is
your
good.
future.
My future is bright.
You know that future lyric? Life is good.
Oh yeah.
Life is good. Anyway.
Yeah.
That one.
If you get the song, you get $5
From her. I'm not paying.
Nah, your age mates will pay for it. So that can mean the business, or that can mean you,
Your age mates. Anyway.
or your age mates, your mates.
She said somebody go give you $5, but not us. Anyway.
Look over and say, neighbor, give me $5. Say, neighbor.
Cannot.
$5.
Neighbor. All right, let's get into it. What did you see this week?
Oh, what did I see this week? Ooh, I don't know. I gotta think about this one. What did I see this week? What did I see? Oh, I saw this thing on TikTok. The video I sent you about Sammy Davis Jr. and he married. Ooh, my brain is freezing. Click.
Because I had it and then I lost it.
Right? No, I saw it. No, really.
Okay. My hot topic this week was related to some TikTok drama. And it was actually local TikTok drama, which is crazy.
Local?
So, yeah, like in the Raleigh 919
In the Raleigh?
Yeah, girl. So,
What the Raleigh girl was talking about?
so there was this woman who is dating this dude. They've been dating for a year. And so over this year, they've, had a cute little relationship or whatever. And she didn't post him and he didn't post her. Now she was like, I didn't ask him to post me because she knew he felt private about that, but she didn't see why she couldn't post him. Like, she didn't get that. So then they hit their 1 year mark, and she said, if I can't post you by 1 year, we done. Like, that's
So wait,
it.
they mutually agreed to hide their relationship.
To not post on Instagram their relationship or social media their relationship. So there was like multiple times when she did post him, and he was like, no. Like one time he was like, somebody gonna seek to know me by the back of my head. It was like a Christmas post.
So what she trying to do? Soft launch this man?
Basically at first. And so then she was like, okay, the back of your head. And then they went on vacation together, like maybe their 8-month mark or something. They went on vacation together, and she was gonna post him with something covering his, like a emoji covering his face or something. And he was like, no, they're gonna know about my tattoos. First off, he was this far, like they were far away from the camera. Nobody could see his tattoos, literally. So that's what she said. So when they hit the 1 year mark, and he was like, no, you can't post me. She was like, okay, well, I'm about to show y'all this person. And she shows a picture of her husband. And,
Hold up.
Oh, sorry, boyfriend, not husband.
Okay, I'm about to say.
Of her boyfriend, of this man. Thinking, she's like, so if you recognize him, whatever. My sister, funny, because she messy too. So she's in this Facebook group, like, that women be exposing their husbands on. Like,
Wow. Women be exposing their husbands?
Well, like, be exposing people, like, I think he's cheating. Do you know anybody who's dating him? Like, all this type of stuff. So
you could really make a TikTok off of the drama just instantly.
Oh, it was crazy. No, everything on that page, you just said that every day you could probably post them. Because if she sent us a post from that page,
you gotta be invited to join. Because I just want to view.
I just want to read your daily reading. It's important to read every day.
The New York Times. What's the tea today?
Stay updated.
Stay updated.
No.
Stay vigilant. Especially if you got a man. You don't want your man wandering eyes. No, let's stay vigilant.
Wander. And so she, So anyway, she posted like 3 series of videos basically. And so eventually she found that her man was dating somebody else. Basically they had been dating for 2 years.
Whoa, hold up.
She's been dating him for 1 year.
Stop. So this is what, a total of 3 years? He's
been in two his relationships over the past 2 years do total 3 years, but it was like.
So wait, was he dating a girl for 2 years and then dated?
No, he
like they overlapped.
He was
over
dating like basically at the other relationship's 1 year mark. He started dating this girl who was making this TikTok. So she had already broken up with him. She was like, because she said, I told him if we couldn't be together by the 1 year mark, I'm leaving. Or if I can't post pictures of you by the 1 year mark, I'm leaving. And she meant that. And so.
But like, did she like know his friends? Like,
I have no clue. That part was never clear. But she posted, it was really heartwarming about like, I'm gonna be da da da.
You ain't send that to me.
I didn't send it to you?
No, man, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. And
Oh,
this is a Raleigh girl?
Yeah, I didn't know she was from Raleigh. My sister got into it more than I got into it. Like, I saw the girl's first video and I was like, dang, that's crazy. And just kept scrolling. And then my sister sent it to me and she was like, oh, they're from Raleigh and he from Apex. And
Apex? Wait, you ain't even from a city. You from a corner. Like, you from behind God's back. Apex. At least be from a Charlotte, even Greensboro, but even Burlington. But no, you from Apex?
He lives in Apex.
You from Apex?
You live from there.
You live in there. You from there.
In this moment,
you live in there. You from there. There's no. Oh no, he from Apex.
He live in Apex.
He from a corner,
and she's living in Raleigh.
Exactly. So, she's from a city. You from a corner.
So people found
annexation. Anyway,
people found out and sent him the stuff, and she was like, "Please don't tell his family.
Please don't tell."
Please don't try to like find him and bully him.
Why?
Because she was like, I was already gonna leave before I knew he could have had a wife and kids. It didn't matter. I was leaving before that. Like, she didn't care what came of it. She was always planning to leave. Because for her, she wasn't leaving because of the possibility maybe of him having a separate family or other situations. She said she was leaving because she felt like he was not doing what, like, not doing what she wanted to do, but he was hiding things and she didn't like that. Or not even hiding stuff. I don't know what her reason was. But she just was like, we had an agreement. You didn't meet the agreement because by 1 year, I was supposed to be able to post you. That's the agreement. And it's been 1 year and you haven't, I still can't post you. So now I'm breaking it up with you. And so she just stuck to her personal boundaries. So she said it didn't really matter about that part. But
the fact that you said don't go after his family, it's like spoil the rod, spare the child, spoil the rod, spare the child. Like, why are you sparing him?
He's a grown man.
Like, why are you sparing?
I mean, like, the video had 30,000 likes, so the probability that his family saw it,
somebody that said,
and she posted his face, so like, if her family members saw it, they're gonna be like, that's Uncle so and so.
What if the next woman come out with a video of her own, of she on talking about, this my man?
No, but if he has a pattern, he should be looking for a new girl right now. Like, he should be starting
in another city, another state.
He should be starting a new relationship right now because they hit their 1 year mark, which is when he got with her. For the other girl, hit the 2 years, so he should be on his third girlfriend now. So he should be okay.
I don't understand about men who choose to have. Is that not costly? Does that not hurt?
That's what she said. The tradition of their relationship was the same, and like they was going on trips together. So that
with the other girl was going on trips with.
Well, that's what she said. Their relationships like mimicked each other. So that I just assumed that if that meant that this girl who's doing the video is going on relationships, that means that the girl who's been in a 2-year relationship with him had to be going on vacations and trips and all this type of stuff. So. Yeah, his pockets had to be hurt. 2 Valentine's Day gifts last year.
Yeah, like, 2 Christmas gifts. 2 birthday gifts.
Like, it's just not economical at that point. It's
like,
that's
why I'm asking. Does that not hurt your pocket? Because,
yeah, but, boo him. Anyway, so that was my Did You See this week?
Girl, that was a lot for me.
Yeah.
My Did You See was I was on TikTok. And I saw the story about Sammy Davis Jr. and his first wife, Lorraine White. Right? So there is this TikTok page that talks about like old school weddings. So like weddings from like the 1960s, 50s, 70s, and like of these famous people and like how they found love and whatnot. And so one of them was Sammy Davis Jr. and his wife, Lorraine White, who was like an actress and a singer. And she was... Okay, so essentially, Sammy Davis Jr. was in a relationship with a white woman, a famous white woman. I forgot her name at the moment. It's escaped me. I'm not going to go look it up either. But he was in a relationship with her. Obviously, back in those days, you were not allowed to be in a relationship with white women as a black man or a white man as a black woman. Love versus, what do you call it, didn't happen.
Loving V Virginia.
Yeah, V Virginia didn't happen yet, so that was not a possibility. So what happens is that he got caught being in a relationship with this white woman, and essentially, like, people, like, these mobsters or whatever were like, if you don't find a black woman within 24 hours, we're gonna kill you. And he found Lorraine White, which at the time I think she had a child.
Oh, really?
I think she had a child. Based off of this, I think she had a child, if I'm not mistaken. She had a child, and he married her, and they only lasted for what, like, less than a year? Yeah, I thought that was really, like, he just married her to marry her. Like, he just married her to save his life.
To save his life. They said he went through his Rolodex and was like,
of all the girls he ever dated, like,
what my finger landed on. Hey, girl, what you doing tomorrow? You trying to get married?
Right? Exactly. And I mean, I hate to say it, but homegirl did it.
She did.
So I wonder, like, do you notice? I'm like, do you get alimony for your time and suffering?
I mean, every year.
That's
a valid marriage. A year.
A year is valid for some prenuptial agreements. It gotta be a year. I mean, look at Ashley Darby from Real Housewives of Potomac. Ooh, that's another one. That's my second. Did you see?
Oh my God.
Girl, she got that Potomac. Ashley Darby, SMH. She's not coming out with no type of money.
That's crazy.
It's really sad. Like, she may get spousal support, but like, she gets nothing. Like, the way that he crafted the prenup, it was not to her advantage. And clearly she didn't read it, because I remember back in season 1 when she first came out, she was like, I'm not with him for his money, like, I genuinely love him. Which is all fair and true. That's cool. I hope you do love him. Would I marry an old man? Nah. But I hope you do.
I want to know who you're talking about now. I know
what
you're
talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So she didn't do that, right? Right before, like, she had children or whatever, I think they, like, had, like a revisiting of the prenup and whatever. I think he, like, cheated on her at that time, too. So, like, they revisited. Now that they're getting divorced and, like, we're really trying to look at this prenup and whatnot, she still owes for money. And he cheated on her. Yeah, he cheated on her. And, like,
ever signed a prenup, there's going to be a cheating clause.
Was there no infidelity clause? Like, at least Robin, as dumb as she is for hiding her little storyline, at least I think she was talking about infidelity clause because Juan cheated on her last time.
Yeah, no.
Her roommate cheated on her last time. Ex-roommate, actually. You know they're married now.
Roommate.
Yeah, that's what TikTok be talking. That's Juan's roommate. On Beyonce's Instagram, be talking about Juan's roommate.
Beyonce's Instagram.
But you know.
That's terrible.
Yeah, so yeah, those are my 2 did you sees, because she's walking out with no money. The first reunion, she was like, it's not looking good for me.
The TikTok page Ram was talking about is called Who I Do.
Yeah, Who I Do. Shout out to Ashley, I think that's her name. The one that did
It's a cool page, and it is like interesting stuff. Some of them were Miriam has been sending me them every day, and they are sad sometimes.
I love old school wedding pictures.
They are
like I love old school wedding pictures. Like, I see my grandparents' wedding pictures. Like, it's just nice, black and white.
Yeah.
But some of them just be like, did you really love her?
It's giving.
Why did I get married?
It's giving. Are there any happy black love stories? You know, please. Where do I sign up to see those? You know. But yeah, that's a mess. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any like fave things this week? Do we have a they did that or a
They did that this week.
I'm gonna say they did that. I will have to insert his TikTok name later. But there's this young man. I want to say he's a medical student, but every day he's been doing like a Black History medical fact for February. So I've enjoyed watching his videos. Again, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, so I will have to insert it later. But it's been good information.
Okay, that's nice. They did that. I don't have anything for this week.
Okay. Any fave things this week?
Favorite things this week. These new snazzy microphones Jill got us. I think these are a great steal.
We're gonna see if it changes anything from one episode to another. I don't know what order y'all are getting these in, so you know the volume is just gonna be different. You'll be okay.
You'll see the gradual progression of our podcast.
That part.
I think that'll be a very beautiful thing.
It will be. All right. Do you have any soapbox that you would like to stand on today?
Soapbox. The topic is white fragility.
Well.
Okay, so I don't know if did I talk about this?
I don't know.
I don't know if I talked about it.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
No.
Yeah, okay. So, a couple weeks ago, not even really a couple weeks ago, but we'll just say a couple weeks ago, so at my job, I work with a lot of doctors that are in clinical trials. Let's just say that. I work with a lot of doctors in recruiting them into join clinical trials. I work with protocol development. I see all that type of stuff I handle. So there are certain doctors that are part of our clinical trials that have not been meeting our metrics. Study guidelines say a certain thing. You have to meet that. If you don't, there's conversations that take place. Not terminating you, but it's just to talk about it and to improve on that. So essentially, I was having a conversation with the doctor, and the math was not mathing. It simply was not mathing. She wasn't making any sense or anything like that. And so I was pretty much like, really, what is the root of the problem? Because I understand what you're saying, but I think there's deeper problems that you're not telling me. And the whole point of this is to have an honest, open conversation. And she opened her mouth and she said, I quote, "I think you need to take a deep breath because you are getting angry."
What? Watch yourself, please, before you wreck yourself.
So my response was, no. We're not going to do that.
What we won't do
is that, because I said you do not know the magnitude of your words. That is a microaggression. Because obviously I am a black woman. And this is Black History Month.
Number one, number two.
And you over here calling me angry. What is there to be angry about? So I was honestly so stunned. But I mean, obviously we finished the discussion. I got to the root of the issue. We talked about it. And I immediately told the people above me, I was like, this is what happened. This is how I feel. And there it was. So let's fast forward some weeks, days go by or whatever. There's a meeting and she cried during the meeting and apologizes. Yeah. So for me, it's like, I was just stunned. I was stunned.
I am flabbergasted.
Mind you, this is not the first time this has happened to me. Obviously, Jewel and I both went to college. I'm sure it's occurred. Has it happened to you?
What, somebody saying
that you're angry?
Slick?
Something slick like that? You angry?
I never been called angry.
Okay.
But something slick, I'll be like...
Yeah, so like, I mean, this is not the first time I've been called angry, just because...
Did you just call me a beep? No, I'm playing. Giving that.
But no, it's giving that. So it's like, this is not the first time I've been called angry of some sort, or like, that's been kind of implicated. Mm-hmm. So, and it surely will not be the last. Obviously, we're all going in healthcare. It's not going to be the last time. But nonetheless, I think that white fragility is a thing. I think it needs to be talked about. Not every time that you don't like what's being told to you, or you can't stand the heat, or you just don't want to be honest, should you go and say that the person opposite of you is angry. Because if it was another white person that was talking to you, you'd say they're passionate. Or you wouldn't even say that at all. You'd probably just take it
to the head and keep it moving.
Exactly. And mind you, we were on Zoom, so she saw my face. And I honestly wanted to send her a link to the Angry Black Woman article. You know, the countless many that are out here. Right. I want to send her a link. So that's my soapbox for the week. How I was called angry. Yeah.
I feel like I don't even want to say mine, because that leads so perfectly into part of what we were talking about today. I don't even know if I have one, honestly, but it's going to lead into what we're talking about today.
We can share it because, the plight of the black woman.
It is. I don't think I have a soapbox today. But
that's my soapbox, because obviously what we talked about today.
Yeah. And what we're talking about today is a perfect way to segue into that. So we're doing another movie review. If you read the title, I'm sure it's somewhere in there. But we're doing a movie review about the movie Something the Lord Made.
Yes. It's not religious by any means. I know, right? You would think it is, but it's not really religious.
It's not religious. I don't even think about that. That's funny.
Yeah. I would. If I saw Something the Lord Made, I'd think about Adam and Eve or something.
So, this movie was made in 2004. It is based on a true story. Mm-hmm. About a man by the name of Vivien Thomas. So the synopsis says, although Vivien Thomas, a black man in the 1930s, is originally hired as a janitor, he proves himself adept at assisting the blue baby doctor Alfred Blaylock with his medical research. When Blaylock insists that Thomas follow him to Johns Hopkins, they must find a way to skirt a racist system to continue their study of infant heart disease. Thomas is indispensable to Blaylock's progress, but Blaylock is the only one who is allowed to receive the acclaim. So we haven't even got that far yet, which I did read ahead a little bit, because it's a true story. Mm-hmm. So his story and biography is out there, or biography people have written about him is out there. But basically, the movie starts.
If you want to watch it, it's on HBO Max.
Yes, HBO Max. So basically, the movie starts with.
Are you laughing because I said HBO?
No, I'm just thinking about how the movie starts, because it was crazy to me.
Not because I'm about to light you up.
I was gonna let you have it actually, but
I'm just saying. I was about to light you up.
I noticed it, but I was definitely gonna let you have
Oh, okay. So you did notice it.
I mean,
So that's why you really were
I
laughing.
can hear. No,
Okay.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about how the movie started when Vivien found out he was getting this job, and he's walking on the street with somebody who had told him about the job. Mm-hmm. They started off in Tennessee working at Vanderbilt, where Blaylock was originally doing his research, and as they're walking down this sidewalk, every time a white person passes, they don't just have to like stop and pause. You know how like maybe you get in a single file? They completely get off the sidewalk and divert their eyes as the white people pass by.
That's a no for me, dog.
When I tell you like triggered, because I think that's been a conversation more in like Black spaces, whether that be like online, Twitter, whatever, even with like my friends, I think, like about like moving off the sidewalk for people and realizing that they wouldn't do the same for you. Yeah. And like why and where that came from. And like we know it's rooted in some racism and sexism and a lot of other things. Right. But like seeing them do it so deliberate, like it wasn't even, the thing was it didn't happen once. Happened like 3 times before. Like they can't even get down the sidewalk good because I mean these people are pushing them out the way. Not pushing them, but you know.
And it's crazy because like I mean, and I was telling Jewel when we were watching this, I was like, I clearly need to stop doing that because I do it because I don't want to hit nobody.
Right.
And if like you know like for example when you're coming in and somebody's leaving, obviously you let the person that's coming in go in first, right? Before you. So I don't know. That's just something I do because I don't want to hit nobody. Like if I can move, I can move. But the fact that you don't even flinch, maybe I should stop.
That's the thing. It's like, okay, if I didn't move out your way, are you gonna let us just run into each other? And it's like I'd be wanting to test it, but I don't feel like dealing with people. Yeah. But like just as much as I can move out the way, you can move out the way too. Right. And I think that stops me is I know I'm a taller, bigger person. Right. So if I bump into Little Miss Sally Sue, she might have more of a recoil than I do. And like, I'm not trying to have more of a recoil. And I'm not trying
What a word. What a usage of a word. Recoil. You go flip.
I'll be like, oh. And it's like, I'm not even gonna say sorry because you saw me walking here just like I saw you walking here.
Right. It's common decency.
And it's like, people have done like research studies, I feel like, about like, people don't recognize women and Black women as like objects almost when you're walking. Like they just kind of like, it can kind of be spaced out, especially men. Because I know they do it when you're speaking, where like they can just kind of space you out. But when they're walking, they don't necessarily like acknowledge like that's a person that I need to move away.
So like as a white man, do they recognize Black men?
I don't know, but it's like they don't give the same courtesy. Wow. To like, it's not something that we're making up. That's the main thing I'm saying. Like, it's not something that you're making up. If you feel like I'm walking on the sidewalk and I get out the way, but nobody ever gets out the way from me, you're not making it up. Like, it's happening.
That's a legit feeling.
It's legit.
That's a legit feeling.
And so that's a whole thing in itself. And so I don't know how to fix it because I don't want to be knocking people over. But I don't feel like I should have to move out the way for you every single time.
I agree.
And if we're gonna play chicken in the middle of the sidewalk, we're just gonna be playing chicken in the middle of the sidewalk. And when your shoulder gets brushed, your shoulder gets brushed. And if you recoil, that's on you, baby. I don't know what to tell you.
You better uncoil. You better uncoil yourself. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it goes back to like how. I feel like it goes back to like how we are always told like keep our head down and not really bring too much attention to ourselves. That's just like the natural way of resolving that. But I mean,
going to a PWI, me and my friends, like that's the one thing I say all the time. I'm like, they have no spatial awareness, and when I say they, I don't mean people that look like me and Mariama, but like people like they don't have any spatial awareness. So when it comes to holding the door, you walk up behind somebody. If it's a Black person, if you're 50 feet away, they're gonna hold the door for you. Yeah. If it's somebody else in my PWI, that door is not getting. Why would you? I'm right here. Why would you let that door close in my face?
And the sad thing about it, they will look at you.
You see me walking.
Like you see me right behind you,
and you're still not gonna hold it.
And I think that's just the weirdest thing.
Yeah, so it's like really strange, and awkward. And so like that part of it, even just like something as simple as like we're in a parking lot.
Yeah.
And you walk across the street. Why are you moving so slow? Like it's stuff like that where it's like you really think the world works on your time,
right?
And
it revolves around you.
But like and it's something I really have to be aware of, that like, okay, Joel, if they gonna walk at 200 miles an not 200 miles an hour, 200 milliseconds.
I mean, but you have to think about it, like we always have to be more conscious of our surroundings.
That's true.
Like as Black people, we have to be conscious of ourselves.
That's true, and that's the unfortunate part. But I don't feel like I should have to be.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we were born into a world where we had to.
And so that's the difference. When it comes to something like that, obviously, they might even know you on the sidewalk. They might have been like, "Oh, you're walking," because you just get out their way,
right?
Because they expect it.
Right? Because I've been in instances where I'm walking on the sidewalk in college, and they walk right through me and my friend. Yeah, like I've seen that, or they like inch their way across beside me, or walk in the grass and then get around from me. And it's like, okay. So yeah, they lack spatial awareness. Lacking of spatial awareness.
But seeing that scene was like, it's clear. Nothing's random. It's rooted in something, right. And that really
And also, it's to prevent, like at that time, being that it was in the 1930s, it's to prevent any type of issue. Because let you look at a white woman as a Black man,
right? That
can honestly be the look of death.
Yeah.
So that's just another thing that was very.
Yeah, because it was 1930s. But basically, like he gets into this Dr. Blaylock's office, a research laboratory, and Blaylock quickly recognizes, because Thomas had aspirations of going to college and becoming a medical doctor. Mm-hmm. Blaylock quickly realized, like, oh, this is a smart young man, not just like a carpenter's son type of thing. And he knew that he had more abilities than just, because he hired him just to like clean out his dog. Mm-hmm. Containers.
He was supposed to be a janitor.
Yeah, a janitor. He was supposed to be a janitor, clearly. Like, just cleaning up the laboratory, and they were using dogs as their model animals. And so that was all he was supposed to be doing. But he moved up to, like, basically laboratory assistant just because of his education and his ability to learn things so quickly. Mm-hmm. Or his knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And just honestly how he carried himself in a lot of the situations. Like, I think when he first started, in the beginning of the movie, he was like, pick up these tubes with like a pair of like, what is it called? Mm-hmm. They're not scissors, but they're like scissors.
Yeah.
And so like the way that he just carried himself in the lab, obviously he looked comfortable. Obviously he was capable of performing different procedures, simple tasks. So therefore the doctor was kind of like, cool, now I can teach you. Mm-hmm. And so then that turned into, and this is one of the things that is on our list to talk about, is essentially the relationship between the doctor and Vivien Thomas. Mm-hmm. Because there was an instance in which the doctor had told Vivien to do something, and Vivien was like, I don't think I'm ready to do this, or make this incision, or to cut this part of the body, or whatever it was. And the doctor was pretty much like, if I say you're ready, you're ready. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna cut this, you're gonna make this incision like your daddy is a carpenter or something like that.
He said, like, I'm gonna draw the line and you're gonna cut it just like you do with your daddy. Yeah. I guess in the sense that he knew his dad was a carpenter. Right. So it's like your dad measures and you cut it or whatever.
Right, like something like that. But it's like, I didn't know, and I think I told you, I was like, is this supposed to be like a condescending? Yeah. Is this like a condescending way of like talking about his dad? Because it's like, why would you say that? It just didn't seem like a place. It was weird.
It was the way he said it, definitely sounded condescending and like he was speaking negatively on him. Mm-hmm. But then the other part of it was like, well, maybe he's just trying to make it relatable. I mean, something he knew.
Because we want to give it a benefit of the doubt, but I also have to remember when I'm watching movies like this, the time and place that we're in.
It's still the 1930s.
Right. So therefore, I don't take nothing that's supposed to be a compliment as a compliment. I'm immediately assuming it's an insult. Which is, I don't know if that's a fault, or I shouldn't be thinking.
It's valid.
But I think I overthink these things, and I think it's an insult.
No, it's valid.
Yeah.
Because it's just valid. That's it. Like, it could have very well been an insult, and it was like, are you trying to joke with him, talk down to him? And the reason why is because as you watch it, you're like, this man a little racist. Like, as much as he's okay with having this black man in his lab and like work with him and assist him, there's stuff that he does and just the mannerism is which he does. He wasn't anti-racist. Let's say that.
Yeah, he wasn't anti-racist.
He wasn't anti-racist. He was very much like, I'm not going to speak up for you necessarily or whatever, but I'm also not going to acknowledge the fact that you're black and that you have different experiences in this world and that whatever. But even when he came into his office, he's like, that's a bit of a brave, when he told him he wanted to be a doctor, he said, that's a brave ambition for a carpenter, isn't it?
Yeah.
And your daddy a carpenter too? What's your daddy think about your aspirations?
Like,
and so it was was like, you're saying, are you really saying that because he's a carpenter? You're saying that because he's a black man. Like,
right? But you want to know something? Like somebody's told me that before. Like,
because your dad's a professor?
Not even that. It's like, I may tell him what my aspirations is. Oh, that's a great aspiration. What do your parents think of that?
Really?
Yeah, I've been told that before. Like, what do your parents think of that? And I'm like,
why do you care?
Right? And so it's like, now that I'm watching this movie, now it makes me wonder, like, are they insulting me? Like, is that an insult? Like, it'd be crazy how, like, things that we could be thinking, oh, yeah, like, that's a compliment. That's actually an insult.
It's actually an insult.
So, yeah, that's been told to me before. I can actually say that has been told to me before.
Oh, I never thought about it. I haven't had that question be asked me. But it's definitely some stuff where I have had situations. I remember I was trying to I had a professor who was real tight with one of the girls I was on the basketball team with. Like, they was go get coffee type of tight. And so, and this is like while we were still in undergrad.
Ooh.
And so she's like, oh, she's a great mentor. Like, you should definitely talk to her. She's so cool. Now the girl's white and the professor's white. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Like, I'm a freshman. I know it's important to have mentorship. But, like, this probably turned me off from really reaching out and trying to find mentors in undergrad. Because then I get in her office and I'm trying to talk to her. And she's like, I'm, asking her about herself, telling her about me, da-da-da. And she's like, you should definitely try to find a mentor that, like, is similar
wow, she really said that?
That you can, like, identify with. She, like, said that to me. Yeah. Like, in so many words, it was like, did you somebody need to find a black mentor? Like,
are you serious?
Yeah, it felt like that in so many words. And that's not exactly, of course, that's not what she said. But as I was listening, and then I was like, went back, I was like, did she just tell me to find a black mentor? And so, like,
it's like you got a delayed reaction because you don't even think that's what they're really trying to say.
But it's also, it wasn't just like, did you really tell me that? It's like, I understood it was a no. It was a clear no from her that she was not going to, like.
Is she like like, what was her?
She was my professor, like my.
She was your.
Yeah, like she taught my class, and so it was like very clear to me, like, okay, she's not gonna. And maybe that was a lot of things. Maybe it was how I was. Maybe it was how I interacted in her class. Maybe it was whatever. But if I'm clearly sitting here trying to. I'm not saying you have to be my mentor, but like to just cut it off like that.
I mean, she could have been like, well, why not talk to so and so? Because there were so many ways she could have recovered from that. Right. And the fact that she went and said, go find somebody else, get somebody else to do it. She was the modern day get somebody else to do it,
basically. And so like it's not giving racist necessarily, but it's also not giving like, are you really thinking in the best interest and of this other person? Because if she would have been like, oh, why don't you talk to so-and-so and so-and-so, but there was,
or I can connect you with,
I think you would really do well if you connected with so-and-so. I'm sure they would love to talk to you, because like for me it's like it takes a lot to have that conversation with a professor and to put yourself out there like that
in general.
So then to get that response was like, oh, okay. So like that's definitely a time when it's not that you're being racist, but are you being anti-racist in that sense?
But are you being helpful?
Right. And it's like, are your words helpful? Are your words productive?
Right, because words have power.
Yeah, they do.
Words have power. And I mean, truth be told, because I mean, there's so many. That's a whole nother episode.
It is.
So that's an episode.
So that was a time when you like are talking to a person of authority, and the way they speak to you definitely matters. And it's like, okay, are you saying this to me because of my ability and my like whatever what I'm presenting, or are you saying this because I'm black? And to have to toe that line is exhausting.
To have to toe that line is shameful. You shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to sit here and ponder that. Like, oh my god, are you saying this because I'm black or because you just don't know how to help me?
Right.
Like,
and so when you think like going back to Thomas and the doctor was like, this is cringe. As you're like sitting there watching the interaction,
is this an insult?
It's very much cringe. Yeah. And I think most doctors, especially old white male doctors, the air he had about him was like that arrogance.
Yeah.
And he was a cardiologist, for God's sake. Like, they think they're God. Like, that's like the whole, like, what's the word? When something, that's the whole thing people say about that, is that they think they're God. Like, so. But
so like after that happened, there's another scene that happened in which Vivien walked out because the way that the doctor came at him,
he said, I'm not taking it.
He said, I was not taught to accept
I was not
that.
raised to,
and he was leaving, and the doctor went running after him because he saw that he was wrong in what he said, and was like, it'll never happen again. So I respect Vivien even at that time because let's be honest, we are more so at the mercy at that time period. We're more so at the mercy of them than they are of us.
Right.
But when you're good, you're good.
That part.
And they won't pass up a good person.
No.
So I think that for him to really have the courage to be like, you know what, bump this. I don't really have to take this. I don't have to accept this. How I feed my family, I'm gonna figure it out. That's commendable. Because even in today's society, I don't think people can do that.
Time. He was making good money for that time period
for a black person.
Yeah, and so
because people even today, I think people are in jobs that they don't like, and their bosses talk to them like trash or whatever, and they're still in those jobs. I mean, I couldn't do it,
and I think a lot of medical students go through that.
Yeah, a lot. How that doctor is actually how some residents, the attendings that teach the residents are like they actually talk like that.
Yeah,
like I've seen it.
Yeah,
it's actually like yikes. Like that would scare me.
It would scare me.
I would shake him.
And like you feel like you have more to lose.
Yeah,
and you feel like you can't stand up and whatever. But if somebody's treating you badly, you should feel like you can leave that situation because it's not worth it, right?
Like who want to get kicked out of a residency program?
Or find like you get blacklisted or something crazy. I'm sure there's lots of stories about it.
Yeah.
What was our next question?
Okay, next question is, so the pay relation or the relationship of the pay then and now.
So we did the math.
So when he first started out, he was making $12 an hour. What happened was, as time went on and they moved to Johns Hopkins, he started making $16 an hour. And then when he was in the cafeteria getting his lunch or whatever, he figured out that he was a grade 3 pay level, which meant
he was getting paid the same as the janitor.
Essentially.
Actually, less than the janitor.
Was he getting
the
paid?
Man said, I have seen more than you, and I'm making more than you. Yeah. And he was just a janitor.
Yeah, so he was making less than the janitor. Meanwhile,
not just a janitor, but he was a janitor, and Thomas was a laboratory assistant, which is like, there's a hierarchy, obviously, there. Right. And so, yeah.
And Homeboy was bitter because, the reason why this came about is that Homeboy was bitter because Vivien was getting more food and more attention from like the cafeteria workers. And so
it was funny because why they got that big dude complaining about food?
Right. He like why he get more money than me?
He get extra.
Meanwhile, Vivien looks like a stick. Like my pinky, that's Vivien. So that was kind of funny.
Mos Def, the rapper, if you know Mos Def, he plays Vivien Thomas in this movie. Yeah, it was really funny because
y'all know him from Brown Sugar. You know that.
We were talking about pay, so he was getting, like we said, he was getting paid $16. So when he found out that he was making less than that other dude in the cafeteria, he was mad about it.
And he went to investigate.
He went to investigate, and that isn't it funny how people say stuff just in times when you get aggravated? Right. That was very accurate, like depiction, because he's like doing his research, like doing something important. So he gets to the part where he's talking, he kind of gets upset about it. And so because they're doing their research, and he's like, if you kill that dog, I'm taking it out your paycheck. He packs up his stuff and leaves. I like a man like Vivien. If you gotta go,
you gotta go.
Get up out of there.
Get her done.
To the left. So
that's his face.
So he leaves and he's like, why are you mad? He's like, because you saying you're gonna take out my paycheck. Good luck with that, because I'm only making this much. And he's like, I'm only making $16 a week. He's like, well, that's what all they can afford to pay you. And he's like, no, that's all they can afford to pay the class 3, level 3 janitors that I'm getting paid. I'm not actually getting paid for my position. And he's like, well, you have to go to college to do that. Well, you've been holding the man hostage for 10 years doing your research. when was he supposed to have time to go to college?
Also, don't forget to add the fact that he said, I don't occupy my time with knowing about like bureaucratic pay scales or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he essentially was like, why would I know? I don't really care. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. Which I thought was very like, whoa.
And this is going to be split into two parts because, the Great Depression was in 1929.
Then 1929 to when?
To 1941.
Yeah.
In 1931 is when he was originally started working with Dr. Blaylock. He was saving up money so he could go to college. The Great Depression happened. All his money's gone. So he doesn't even have the money to go to college anymore because the banks are closed because all his money is gone. So this obviously happened beforehand, but it's like now the boy's been working, like Vivien's been working for him.
But it catches up
all this time. And so it's like catching up with him. So he's like, oh, well, you can't get paid this if you're not in college. But eventually, the doctor realizes I can't lose him. Like, I need him for my research because he's so valuable. He actually makes the things that he needs happen. Like, he makes it happen. And
he's the only one that can do it.
And he's the only one that can do it.
Which goes back to what I'm saying about if you good, you good. Like, don't nobody want to have to go searching for somebody else to go and do what you can do if you're good. Exactly. So then he ends up taking out the guy who's like in charge of like pay scales or whatever and is like, what can you do to help me essentially? And so they work out a deal or whatever. And the doctor ends up going to Vivien's house, which he hadn't been there since Vivien's been working for him, which is 12 years. He's never been to his house once, mind you. Okay? So, his wife gave him a little bit of sass, like, what you doing here? You've never been here in the last 12 years. Played by Gabrielle Union. And we know, Gabby, you can give some real sass. But anyway, so she's like, you ain't even been here. He essentially is like, I've increased your pay to $25, an additional $25 per month. So that increases it, because me and Joe, we did the math. So that goes from $16 and $16 a week to $22 a week. That was the increase. Which back in those days, $22 a week in today's days, $470 a week.
Yes.
In today's time, which at the end of it all totals to about like $20,000 to $22,000 a year, right? Which still isn't enough, as we all know. But nonetheless, it is
better than $16.
It's better than what
the $16
he was making before. So then he pretty much is like, I really want you back. Like, you're good. I need you, whatever. And that is essentially
the part we got up to.
As of now. But yeah.
Another thing, or one question that I know we had on our list was about social circles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And about how like they operated differently within their social circles.
And their social classes.
So obviously like the money thing was a big part of that because who knows what that doctor was making, where that doctor had a big old house.
Right. And one of the things that actually stood out. Nanny. Right. Like one of the things that actually stood out was when he was, so like the doctor, he had like some type of like dinner or like, evening type thing at his house. And guess who was the server? Vivien was a server at his boss's house when he was having some dinner or whatever. And it's just kind of like, wow. Like as beneficial and as important as he is, all of that, he can't even parlay and drink with the people who are probably at his same level or above him, because some of them I'm sure were like scientists, some of them were doctors.
The only difference that they would have had was that most of them would have went with the color, but most of them would have went to university.
But it was, so I mean, and so when they were like the doctor and some other doctors, they were talking, and essentially Vivien would listen in the conversation and then add his 2 cents, which was like extremely informative. And it's like, how do you know this? Like, why are you saying these words? You didn't go to school. How would you possibly be capable of learning this? So that was just really interesting to me because no matter how black I am, I'm still smart.
That part. And I just loved how he inserted himself into those conversations. Because I definitely am a person who, like, even if you know the answer or you know something, especially in that setting, it's scary to be like, oh, let me put my 2 cents in or whatever.
Right.
But he was not afraid to put his 2 cents in and to prove that he knew what he knew. And he wasn't being boastful. Right. He was just giving a conversation. And everybody else was shocked, like, sir, who is you?
Like,
and how do
who
you
are you?
know this?
Right.
And you dropping all these medical terms, but you're not like amongst us.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just being himself, being his smart self.
Right.
And that was definitely a cool moment. But it was crazy that, like, not him working.
Right.
Not you asking him to get old girl a champagne when he can give so much more to the conversation. Like, and so that was crazy. And so eventually people do recognize his differences. And even like, so he moved him up. He moved the man up to Johns Hopkins from Tennessee. Moved his whole family. Right. They get in the building. Can't even go through the same door.
Yeah.
As his boss. Everybody look at him crazy because he's like, what? And so the doctor doesn't cause a scene, I guess you could say. Like, he's like, do you know who I am? I'm Dr. So, chief surgery director.
Yeah.
And the police is like, well, that's mighty nice, but he got to go up the back entrance with everybody else that look like him.
Yeah.
And so that was really, like, it was kind of off-putting, but he's just like, I'll meet you upstairs. Because he's like, what you want me to do about it, kind of thing.
Right.
This was before the raise and everything. But that, and then we get to that one scene. I don't even know if this relates to the question. But like socially or whatever, stuff that he would never have had to, like the doctor never even knew he had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
They get to their new lab.
Mm-hmm.
It's old, dusty, nobody been there in who knows how long.
Nobody cleaned it.
Vivien is like trying to get it set up. Some doctor comes in from who knows where. He should have been minding his business.
Mind the business that pays you. That's
hard.
being a doctor. It's not being an authorizer, an administrator,
authoritative, like dictator, whatever.
Snip, all of it. No. Bye.
Go somewhere else. He's literally across the way. Comes across the hallway because he sees a black man. Comes across the hallway. What are you? He's like, what? Excuse me. What are you doing? He's like, hi.
Right.
Can I help you, sir? He's like, boy, who do you think you're talking to? He says, well, I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm working with so-and-so. Can I help you? Because Vivien has done so. He's been working with this man for 12 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He has earned every little bit of whatever that he has to be working there. The doctor, still unknown to us at this point in the movie, gives him $1, says, go get me a donut and a coffee.
Right. Side note, that makes me wonder, how much was a donut and a coffee back then?
50 cents.
You give me $1.
And bring my change back. 75. Let me stop.
Right.
But it was like,
right.
It was really just like off-putting. And Vivien was like, I think you have got me confused, sir.
Yeah.
And gives him his $1 back because...
And then he storms off because he's mad.
Because he's like, you'll hear about this, blah, 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 blah. And it really reminded me of every story you hear about quote-unquote Karen nowadays.
Ooh.
Because if you think about the Karens who... Like, man, what exactly did them people in the park sitting, enjoying, minding their own business have to do with you?
It's the mere existence that you don't think that we belong there, and therefore the easiest way to get rid of us and to make yourself more comfortable is to antagonize us so that we can then either act out or move away because we don't want to cause any issues.
But the thing is, you could have just left the space. He's in a whole different lab. Yeah. Close your windows, close your blinds so you don't got to look at him if his presence is really bothering you that much. And I'm like, dang, it don't stop.
It doesn't.
It don't stop. And this movie was made in 2004, which was almost 20 years ago now.
Yeah, it's almost 20 years, yeah.
Make me feel old. But
yeah, make me feel real old. We were 5.
Oh, stop.
We were 5. Wow. Did I just tell on myself?
You're old. Anyway.
Girl, you older than me.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway.
She older than me, like, by a good almost near 6 months. Actually, it is 6 months you're older than me. Okay. All right, maybe put 2 and 2 together.
5. It's less than 5.
What, because you born at the end of the month?
It's only 5.
Oh. Whatever.
Anyway.
Nah, it's really 2 months, but alright. I mean, it's really 6 months, but alright. Okay. We'll let that slide.
I'm gonna do the math. It's not. Anyway. I'm right. Anyway.
Why you just dismiss me like a Karen? I'm right.
I am.
You're left. Bye.
Period.
Whatever.
I'm
Anyway,
big, you're small. I'm right, you're wrong. And there's something you can do about it. What movie is that from?
Damn.
Matilda.
Why I feel like I'm just exposed. I feel so exposed. That's a cute movie.
Oh, man.
I feel so exposed. My face is like,
That's funny, bruh. But do we have anything else to talk about?
No, stay tuned for part 2.
Well, that's all we're going to talk about today. We still have to watch the remainder of the movie.
We have about like 55 minutes of it.
Yeah, so about half, because it was about an hour and 50.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's all. Until next time.
See ya, Yummy.